All good.
My name is Kiki Bittner. I'm with Creative Media Enterprises. I'm the project manager here. And with me today is Ted Clark. He is our analytics engineer. And we are going to share with you today on how to automate your business, why it's so important, what's going on in the industry. So I'm going to turn it over to Ted now for the next few minutes. And thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. So today, like Kiki was saying, we wanted to talk about data management practices and how they can really impact and automate your business. Data management practices and data in general is something that's changing left and right all the time. And so frequently we get caught in the urgency of a request or the influx of new data coming into the question, into the landscape, that we really can never make sense of anything because there's so much going on. The question I most frequently get is, can you pull this data into a report? And generally this question just leads to more confusion than concrete answers. But it is a question that we need to be able to have an answer to. So today we want to run through the 5 things that we recommend and implement with a lot of our customers on how you can make progress in the data management space. Every request that comes across is, I need this ASAP, I need this urgent. Please pull me some data and tell me what to do. But it never goes this way. We equate it to, it's kind of like telling a 5-year-old to hop on their bike for the first time and go ride a 10-mile bike ride. It is not going to end well. So we wanted to run through the 5 ways that you can actually go take action and make data management part of your organization and a success. So the first thing that we have to look at from the data perspective, with all the volumes of data that are coming in, is it's inevitable that you're going to have to put your data in the cloud. Quite often, we get this question of, hey, explain the cloud to your parents. How would you do that? Well, it's basically you need to have data and the volume of data not on your laptop. It needs to be out in the ether, and it affords you a lot of different things that you have to do. But one of the things that we've found is putting data in the cloud is going to be a necessity. So it's best to start now and figure out how you can do it. It immediately helps you scale in terms of, your data sizes are going to grow. In the cloud, you can tick a box to say, hey, we got to accommodate this growth. Using the cloud and moving piece by piece to get to the cloud is what we recommend you go do. So don't start by coming in and saying, let's just do everything right now. Start with the pieces that you're familiar with, like could be using SharePoint, or it could be using the place you go to enter data today, and making sure that's there. Starting with those little pieces that are familiar that you can build upon is the next best way for you to start doing it. And one of the things to realize with putting your data in the cloud is that you're likely already doing it. You may not know that you're doing it. If you've ever installed something on your laptop called OneDrive, there's a number of different sync tools like Dropbox. Those are all putting your data to the cloud. So building on that in a strategic way that's organized is putting your data in the cloud. And it's just a matter of realizing you're doing it and then taking advantage of the cloud elements and tools once you get that data there. The second piece of this is around how you organize your data, right? So in any data management process, data gets generated into a system, and then it goes through a number of steps before it gets reported out. And one of the biggest problems that people do is they say, trust me. And while people love to say, oh yeah, I trust you, what you're doing, you need to go in and say, we need to not have black boxes that say, trust me. We want to be able to expose and make transparent all the different elements of how data gets brought in, how it gets aligned, how it gets organized, and then how it gets reported. And when you take a layered approach to how you're going to build your data management, you're able to do that and say, hey, look, if you have questions about one of these elements, we can dive right in and go see that piece. It really establishes buy-in from all the people, regardless of where they are, whether they're technical or non-technical, whether they're doubting what kind of data you're working with within the business. You do all this in a layered approach, in a transparent approach. So when you have something that comes out that is a finding that's worth acting on quickly, you don't have this, oh, well, do we really trust this? You build up that trust all along the way, and that insight that comes out of your system, which inevitably will happen, you can go act on right away, and you have the trust and the buy-in. So it's a much more efficient way to take the next step. No one ever said a report generated the revenue, but the report generated the idea that you could validate that now lets you go find the next revenue stream or optimization in your business. So layered approach really helps you do this. I would really more call it, hey, you need to build a trustworthy approach and prove it with your application. So the third thing that we recommend is in building out a layered approach and doing things on the cloud, there are so many bits and pieces to it, right? So the third thing we recommend is have a metadata-driven method. Now, what does this mean? This has absolutely nothing to do with Meta or Facebook like we all know it. It has to do with having a routine way of acquiring data. You know, having a framework by which you go in and say, hey, when we want to pull in new elements of data, we're going to follow these general rules and have tools behind the scenes that help us do that. Metadata driven really just means you have some tools behind the scenes that are helping you implement rules quickly. And once you know how to pull in a single data source, pulling in the second, third, fourth on up from there is really just easy. Now, one of the crutches with metadata driven method is a lot of folks, when they go select a tool to do this, they try and find the most 99.9% perfect tool to do that. And that is one of the things we recommend. Don't do that. You want to find a tool that's going to work 80 or let's say 90 or 95% of the time. And know that when you have complex things that come across, you're going to have a point solution that addresses those issues. But if you go to the 90-95% standard on your metadata driven tool, it's going to speed up the general 9 out of 10 requests that are coming to you and allow you to be super reactive and not have to have, you know, a different recipe for every time you want to bring in something new. What you're really doing when you're picking a tool that drives your metadata is you're picking up an approach that allows you to be reactive and a really nimble team that can manage different data things. Because we know over time, data is going to change. So we have to build the tools and the processes behind the scenes that allow us to change with it and quickly. So the fourth thing we recommend also is an approach. We want and encourage our customers relentlessly to pursue automating things, right? You should attempt to, everything that you build should attempt to be automated. And we get a lot of pushback on this, but there is a method to the madness, and it doubles back on itself. When you go in with the approach of automating everything, you inevitably stop doing some of the mundane and unvaluable tasks, because you realize, hey, if I go in and attempt to automate these 10 things on my list, I don't have enough time to do all the bells and whistles to get them automated. So it's a forcing function that allows you to go in and say, hey, I only have time to do 3 of these. So you end up doing the 3 most important things in an automated fashion. And what this forces you to do at the end of the day is you don't do the noise. You do the 3 most important things, and that forces your team, your business stakeholders, and everyone to learn more about the most important things faster. And what we've found in practicing this, hey, do 3 of the 10 things you think you need to do, learn earlier, learn more often, is items 4 through 10 on your list, the last 7, tend to not be the next 7 things done. Because you've done those 3, you've done them well, you've automated them, so now you don't have to think about them anymore. But they've taught you, hey, what are the real priorities? What are the real levers in our business that can get moving? We've found more things that we need to go do, and we have a new set of priorities because we did the first most important things and learned from them. So pursuing automation really is, we're going to do it, but it forces us to do the most important things, which is what everyone wants to do. And the last thing we recommend is have a focus on compliance. Compliance sometimes is the last thing to be thought of, but it ends up sometimes being the most important thing. And the key to getting compliance is really having transparency. And we talked about this in, I think, item 2, where we were saying, hey, you need to get rid of the black box. Well, compliance is where you actually formally go and approve or show your steps through the black box in a more formal way. And the best way to do this is to systematize it, because we've set up methods that are going to be routine for different data flowing through the system. Actually going and saying, hey, we're going to systematize proving that we're a transparent organization. The compliance is really meant to be out there to make sure you're doing the things you're saying you're doing and doing the things that you plan to do. So going at it and saying, hey, yes, we are transparent. We're getting people the information they need and showing how that works throughout the system. It's kind of putting a report back on the good practices of getting buy-in to the data all the way. All these 5 things really work together in a sense of you're trying to build a brain around the data in your organization so it can be understood and learned from and kind of help you take the next steps. So I hope it's useful to hear these 5 things. Know they're all within reach. And Kiki, do you have anything to add?
Well, I just wanted to say kind of a thank you for this 30,000-foot overview. One of the things that's so important about these processes is that you have a faster, clearer understanding of what's going on in your business and your business practices. Compliance is especially important if you have government contracts, if you have shareholders, maybe you're an IT department and you've got C-suite level people that you need to prove your data to. This is all incredibly excellent, and we can save time, like up to 30% of acquiring this kind of data with our system. Sure. So, and also businesses will save a ton of money compared to kind of the old way of doing it, because you're able to quickly pivot when data changes, laws change, or your business grows and changes as well. So thank you so much for that.
Awesome. That's great.
Oh, go ahead. Well, if you need to reach us or you're interested in discussing further automation projects or your business structure, you can contact me, Kiki at cmegraphics.com, or Ted at cmegraphics.com. And we're excited to help you answer your questions and get started on your project. Thank you, Ted.
Cool. Thanks, Kiki.